In the meantime, I'll move slowly so that you can follow what I'm doing. But if you're stuck anywhere, let me know during the session itself, right? So let me share my screen and discuss the use case, what we are planning to do today. Abjit, which screen are you looking at right now? Orchestrator?
Orchestrator, yes.
All right, thank you. Sorry about my throat today. So what we are trying to achieve today is this. I have this one form with me where we are supposed to enter data. Let's say A, B, L, and then we have something as ID, which we are going to generate from another website. This is a website which generates hash code. So how we are going to generate this hash code? For example, we have sender A, B, and the points are 12. So we'll write this here. And you can see there is an output automatically. And we'll fetch this information from here and we'll place it here and submit it. All this process needs to be automated. So I have an Excel file ready with me. Let me show you. This is how it looks like. Initially, this file had like 100 records. I reduced it to 10 because in the interest of time, because during execution, I don't want to be in a situation where every time we are waiting for like 5 minutes to execute it. So this is the data that we are going to use for sender, receiver, and points. And based on this data, we'll generate a hash code and we'll write it back to the form that we have just seen, right? So that is the objective, but that is not all. Today we'll see a couple of other things. Let me show you that as well. So how we are going to do this? We are going to create two different automations on Studio. One is dispatcher, other is performer. The purpose of dispatcher is to retrieve the data from Excel and put it on orchestrator. And the purpose of performer is to read the data from orchestrator via queue and perform the operation that we want to do, right? Once that is all done, we'll push that automation on orchestrator, and then we will run it as unattended robot. So I'm going to show you the final version that we have already, and then we'll make it from scratch. Just in case you have missed what needs to be done and all, let me know. I will discuss it again. So this is my dispatcher, which is already created, and we'll do it from beginning, but I'm just displaying what we have achieved. Before even that, I already have a queue, which we'll create again. And you can see I have $30 records available here. Transactions can be seen here. And I remember someone of you asked one query in the last session, how to get this output data here. So we'll discuss this part as well. You can see we have output data here, right? So we will insert data to queue from dispatcher, and then we'll retrieve that data from queue to perform the transactions in performer. That is the whole objective. How it looks like, right now you have seen there are 30 executed transactions, and if you see, status is successful. So first thing that I'll do is I'll run the dispatcher. And immediately you can see it is appearing inside jobs as pending. Once it is successfully executed, let me go back to queues and refresh it. And then we'll see transactions. And you can see there are additional 10 new records. Total number is now 40, right? So dispatcher is doing this part, right? Another section we have is performer. And I'm going to execute this. Since I closed that, it has faulted. Let me restart. Maybe one or two more records needs to be executed. Okay, we got the message. There is no more data to process. That is going to be the end of this performer automation. Now, this is what we are trying to, will try to build today from scratch, and try to work with me along the session. Any questions as of now regarding the use case or anything, right? So a couple of things that I'm assuming is, since we have covered that part, that uh, what is What is a robot account that we used to create from here, right? We have created this robot for robo for Hershakti last time, remember? And then we went to tenant, and inside tenant we have managed the access. We have given this role to robo for Hershakti as robot. That was next level. Then inside folder we are supposed to add this robo Hershakti, right? That is all we have done. We have already created a machine in the last session. I'm going to reuse this for this session, right? So if this is something which you have not done, please look into the last session. We have discussed this in detail. But even today, if you stuck somewhere, let me know. So are we good to go? Yes, no, yes, no. Anything on chat? All right, sounds good. Okay, so as I said, let's begin from the dispatcher. This time I'm going to give it name points track. I just made a minor change and I'm calling it dispatcher as this here. Now there are multiple things that you need to observe during this building because there are a few things which I kept uh, faulty for a reason. Okay, environment is ready. Now you can see at the bottom of this IDE, it is showing robot error. Why is that? Because my studio is not connected with the orchestrator right now, or my studio is not connected to any folder in the orchestrator. Why is that? Last time we discussed about UiPath Assistant. If I go to preferences, orchestrator setting, you can see that it is connected to a machine, not to the orchestrator itself, right? So this is what we need to change. Disconnect. Use service URL, sign in. As soon as it is saying connected, let's go back to our studio and you can see that error is gone, right? Now, when I say that error is gone, you should also look into in which particular folder I'm working on. There are a couple of them. One is chatbot, post demo, Hershakti, orchestrator resources shared. Right now I'm working on orchestrator resources, right? So let's go back to orchestrator now. And within orchestrator, let's go to the folder orchestrator resources. Now, as we have to work from the scratch, I'm going to build a new queue. We already have a couple of them, but I'll use this one. Create new queue. We can give it any name, relevant name. Since we already have points tracker, let me use points tracker For tracker, I'm using TRK. And based on our requirement, we can change max tries, things like that. You may want to label it like points tracker. These are optional things, not mandatory. The only thing that you should understand is if you want to use a specific schema, we have got these many options. We are not going to work on these things because um, this will require you to have knowledge on JSON file itself, right? Which is not in the scope of today's discussion. Other things we can keep as it is, but if you want, you can modify. It is already set to 180, which is minimum. You can change this retention period to 15 or something. I'm keeping all things as it is. So the purpose of this section is when do you want to, for how long you want to keep these queues or whatever assets you're building here. So now we have a new queue, points tracker. And if I look into this, there are no records available right now, right? You can interrupt me anytime during the session wherever you feel like that this step is not understood or something that I went too fast. Though I'm trying to go slow. So now we have a new queue here. Let's go back to our Studio IDE. Okay, we don't have anything here. We need to build from scratch. So as per our requirement, what we need to do is, first thing that we need to do is, we need to upload data from Excel to Q. So first thing that we will do is, we'll bring Excel to a location from where we want to pull it. I'm copying my Excel and going to place it in the folder location. And let me create new folder inside my working folder. Let me call it input. And now I have input file inside project. Let me refresh. And now look into data manager. Data manager is something which is available on the right side. Now let's see what we have here. We have assets that we worked on last time. We have queues, and but we cannot see that latest queue. Why is that? Because that we have created later. For that, what we need to do is I will restart this particular project. As soon as I'll restart that particular project, it will fetch the latest information from orchestrator. Now you see we have new queue as well, right? Now, first thing first, uh, I'm keeping my meeting chat open. If you have, I mean, the questions I ask, if you have any answer to that, please write it on chat. I want to read that particular workbook that I have just shown you. Which activity I should use? Anyone? So I have got this, I have got this, I have got this. Which one I should use?
Retreat. Oh.
All right. And then I will go to the relevant file, browse it, and add it. Another value that I need to add is sheet name. So we should know what is the sheet name. And to check that, I'll go back to input points tracker. I will copy this. This is the name of sheet. And add it. So if we are reading something, there should be a way to provide output. For that, we will go to properties of read range workbook. What I'm not doing is I'm not writing annotations. It is a good practice. In the interest of time, I'm not writing. So, but whenever you work, try to follow the good practices. Okay, so as output, we'll have a data table. I'm using Control K and giving it a name like PT underscore points data. The good part is since I have added variable directly to this point, if I go to variable, you can see the variable type is by default data table, right? So this is a good practice again. If you have to add a variable, try to use properties wherever possible. Then you don't need to bother about the data type of individual variables. Now we are good with uh, reading part of our process. The next thing that we want to do is we want to write all that information to the queue. Now, here's the way you can do it. I discussed this part. You can simply drag and drop this queue to your working area. And as soon as you do that, you'll get number of options which are applicable to queue. When I say option, I'm talking about the activities. In this particular case, what I want to do is I have some set of data and I want to write it back to queue. And for that, the best activity is bulk add queue. Now, as a homework or as to be pro, what you want to do is you may want to check all of these activities. I think add queue we have used in the last session. For this, I'm going to use bulk add queue items, and the name suggests itself. Write everything that you have. And the beauty is, by default, it has taken the name of folder. By default, queue name is filled. The only thing that it requires is the source of information that you want to write, and that we have created from the read range workbook. Now, as soon as I did, error goes away. I'm going to save it. Now, if I will run this, whether it will throw an exception right now or not, can anybody tell me? And you have your answers on the screen, if it will run or not. Yes, no, quickly. Okay, there is no error on the error in the automation workflow. You can see that, right? But I'm asking whether it will run or not. It will throw an exception because read range workbook has this particular Excel as input, which is not closed. So I have to close this. Now, if I run this, let's see what happens. It is executed successfully. And what happened is not magic. You can see the impact of that execution inside transactions. Earlier, there were no records, right? Now we have got 10 records and status is new. Now, couple of things that you might want to observe here is this status is something which we have not provided. It is by default, right? If you want to see a particular record, you need to click on that and you can see. Now, there is nothing inside output data because we are not providing any output as of now. We will work on this in the next part of section. So with this, we are done with the dispatcher part. The objective of dispatcher was to upload data from Excel to Q, right? Few questions I'm leaving for you to learn on theory basis. Why it is good to use queues while you are working on an automation. Learn this. This is I mean, besides what we are doing practically, you should know in under which situation it is a good idea to use queues and assets and rest of the features of orchestrator. So, any questions till now with dispatcher? I think this is pretty straightforward. Next section is not going to be that straightforward. So for that, which is performer, we are going to build another process and let's call it points tracker underscore performer. Okay, let's keep it like PER only. So for performer, I'm keeping PER only and create. Okay, my environment is ready. Now it's ready. And you can see that since I'm using same folder, I'm connected to same folder, I have access to all the things which are related to that folder. And for our purpose, I need this queue, right? So how to work now? Today I'm going to show you use of flowchart as well, right? So while you are building your processes, there are possibly three types of work you do. One is linear process automation. When I say linear process automation, completion of every step will lead you to the next step, and it is a straightforward process, right? For example, reading an email, right? Now, next thing is uh, there could be an iterative process. When I say iterative process, you have to read multiple emails, right? So you will iterate through the same process of reading again and again, right? There could be a third scenario, right? Where we particularly use state machines. In that particular scenario is more suitable for complex processes where you suppose you are in a state A and you have got X data, right? So that particular state can lead you to multiple different states. There is a possibility you can go to B, you can go to C, you can go to D, depending on the condition and your current state. So that complex situations are dealt with state machine. In both the situations, you have repetitions, but the number of conditions that you deal with in state machine is larger, while the flow chart is more towards decisions where you have got straightforward yes or no type of decisions. You can use that for iteration. So in this particular case, I'm going to use flow chart. Let's begin with that. So for flow chart, let me pull the activity. And you can see this symbol is already available, which is nothing but start. So once we have started, first thing that we want to do as our process is, you have the data. What should we do now? You have the data available in queue. What we are supposed to do? We need to pull that data and write that information in a form, and then we have additional steps as well. So the first thing is pull that data. How to do that? So for that, we have this activity, get transaction item. If you don't see an arrow here, create one, right? So get transaction item, you need to understand this transaction item word itself, right? Transaction item is nothing but an input that is required to process, right? So we need to get transaction item, then process that transaction item. That's what we are going to do. So since this time we have pulled this get transaction item from activities, by default we have not got any input. We are placing it. So orchestrator folder path is this, and the queue on which we want to work is this, right? And since we are reading something, other thing that we want to do is we will need to find a way to get the output. In this case, again, you might want to watch it very carefully. You can give any name, but the preferred location for that is this. Control K, and I'm giving it name transaction item itself for simplicity. Now, what you need to watch here is, see, the variable type is automatically declared as queue item, right? If you don't do this, you will have to make sure that you are using right variable type to work on this particular activity. I'm changing the scope to main sequence just to avoid any scope issues later. Now let's go back to transaction item. Any question in this? So what we have done is we are using a flow chart. We are using a flow chart because we have to follow a iterative process. If it is a complex situation, I would have preferred a state machine, but I'm using this. Within the flow chart, the first step that I'm performing is retrieving the data from queue. And for that, I have used get transaction item activity. Next thing is, let's go back to what we were supposed to do. Next thing is, if we have available data, we have to write that information here. And for the last field, we are supposed to fetch the hash value. So this is what we need to achieve gradually, right? So how to do that, right? First thing that we have to do is we need to check, do we have any value as input? For that, I'm going to use if activity. Now, if there is a if activity, we have to provide a condition. In this case, what we want to do is we want to see, let's go back a bit. So from get transaction item, we have got output as transaction item itself as variable, right? We will pull the values from transaction item one by one, which is available in the form of queue. Now, we need to see, do we have any relevant value inside transaction item? For that, this is the condition. Transaction is not nothing, which says unless we have a valid value inside transaction item, and this condition is true, do this. Do what? What we are supposed to do if we have a valid value? We have to write that value to these particular locations one by one. Are we good till now? Yes, no's? I just want to see that my discussion is not making you sleep and you're working with me. Great. Great, great, great. Thank you. Okay, so if I have to work on this form, which activity I need to pull?
Use browser app slash application.
Awesome. That is very encouraging. Now, I am going to indicate that particular application here. Now, since I have this path available with me, I need ways to write my information. Which activity I should pull now? Will this work?
Yes.
And let me pull three of them initially because I know that I would need at least three activities for the writing purpose initially. And now I need to point to individual text boxes one by one. Now, as an anchor is by default, it is selecting one. I'm going to delete this anchor and use sender. And why is that? I'll show you in a minute. You can see that by default activity header is changed to type into sender. Otherwise, it will appear as type into one, which will not impact our logic at all. However, it will provide less information, right? Now, we want to write something here. Before that, let me point all of them one by one. In the same fashion, I'm going to use receiver here. And the third one, points. I have added type into activity for three fields, but not for the fourth one because we don't have data for the fourth one. And we are supposed to create that data. So we'll come into that logic, but first let's tell this type into what needs to be right here. So again, this small portion is kind of uh, programming activity, but gradually you will learn. Transaction item. This is the source of data, and what we need is okay. This is the beauty that I wanted to show you. So I'm going to use a variable called specific data, right? This is what I'm going to use, and it is coming from here, right? And what we are trying to provide here is sender. Since it is an object, we are supposed to convert it back to string for the writing purpose. Whatever we are fetching from transaction item, by default, it is a object which is not understood by text box. So we'll have to make it to a string and save it. And same thing will happen for rest of the fields. So I'm going to copy it and paste here. The only thing that I'll change is I'll make sender to receiver. And for the third one, it will be points. So as of now, what we have done is our automation will make sure that we are writing the first three values from the Excel itself. But there is no fourth value. What to do about it? Now again, how we want to work on the fourth item? We want to use this format, sender, receiver, and points data, and whatever value we get against that particular record as hash value, this is going to be the input for the fourth field as ID, right? This combination will decide the ID for the fourth value. So let's do this. So what should be my first step in that case?
Browse
Anyone?
page.
Sorry, I missed that.
Browse this page and type into the input.
Awesome. So it will have one additional activity, and that will see. So first thing is again use app. Indicate to the browser. Once we reach to the page, there are two things that we want to do. One, I want to write something here. And second, I want to read something from here, right? So we need to perform both of these one by one. So for writing, you already said that we need type into activity. The only thing is we need to tell what needs to be written. All right. Now we have to decide what we uh, want to provide as input here. So it is going to be the combination of sender, receiver, and points for separated by a slash. So I'm following a simple string concatenation. So whatever I have just written is nothing but I'm saying write sender followed by slash, followed by receiver, followed by slash, followed by points. And this is this particular thing that you have already seen while we were working on first few text boxes. Now it is decided what we want to provide as input. we need to find a way to um, read that hash value. For that, there is an activity called get text, and we will point out to the output text box. I'm removing anchor because while you're working on graphics, make sure that it is able to identify perfectly. So validation is a good way. Okay. So I'm not getting a perfect, I mean, my system is not getting a perfect vision. We'll see the impact of it during execution.
Uh, Anuj,
Yeah.
the error it said disable the computer vision. Will that help?
No, no, that is not going to help. I'm just trying to make it perfect. In your case, this may work as it is. Even for me, it was working fine earlier. Uh, okay. So once we have decided from where we need to read the information, we need to have a way to get output. In this case, again, output is a text. You can create a variable here, or you can create a variable here as well, because in both ways you are going to get the string. So let's call it hash value and change its scope to main sequence to avoid any scope issues. And finally, provide that hash value as output to this system. No, now, as if now we have what we have done is this. We have read the transaction data, and then we are writing that data with the help of if activity. And inside that, we have reached out to all the text boxes except one, which is ID. And that's what we are going to do next. So for that, we need another type into after hash value. And now we will point back to ID. Okay. So can anybody tell me be the what should be the input here?
Hash value.
Correct. Now we are almost in the final phase of writing or and submitting. Since we have reached to this point, the next thing is submit, right? And for that, I need a click activity, and I'm going to point it submit button. Now here's a catch. Let me submit some random data here. A, B, 1, and something. And I submit. Now you see that as soon as I submit, the next thing is submit another response, right? It is not going to submit again. For that, we need to add one more click activity. And point it to submit another response. So whenever you're working on graphics, things will vary from case to case. What you need to make sure is that it is working fine on your screen. If you are building it for somebody else's machine, you might want to use the feature that we discussed earlier around fine tuning using wildcards and property explorer, things like that. Now we are good till this point, right? Um Till this point, what we have done is we made sure that whatever information we have, we are writing it to the text, sorry, that form. Let me go back to flowchart. So as of now, we are good with the writing of flowchart. Now we need to identify how to stop or when to stop, right? Now there is something which I discussed in the beginning about the statuses, right? Here you can see the status that it is new, right? And we want to make sure that no data is executed again, right? And for that, we want to change the data status of this particular record, any particular record that is executed, right? How to do that? We'll go back, go if. Now there is one activity which will facilitate you to set the status. Again, you have to provide the path. But that is not all. Um, as I discussed, somebody was asking about how to see that output data there, right? So it is possible only via this particular activity as of now, right? However, till now, I have never encountered a situation where I need to use that output data information, but for the sake of demo, I'm using it. So for that, what you need to do is, uh, go into the property of this set transaction status, right? And inside properties, you'll find this label output. Click here and choose whatever data you want to write. In our case, we have got sender, and you can change this name. It's not important that I write only sender. Provide the value to it, and it is going to be same transaction item dot specific content followed by whatever value you want to give. In our case, it is sender. Convert it to a string and save it. If you want to add more information, let's say you want to talk about receiver, you want to see receiver information. So the only thing that I see valuable here is you can see what information we are passing on, and you can check it on orchestrator itself. And in the same fashion, if you want to use analytics, there is nothing change new here. Same fashion you can use. So I focus on output itself. So now we are good enough for this particular activity, which is if. Till now, we read information, we passed it to write to different text boxes, and we also converted converted some value, some string into hash code and write it to the ID itself. Now we need to find a way to stop this process. Now, next activity is of great interest. I'll tell you why. This is called should stop, and it has only one variable of type Boolean. Now, why do we need this? We need this if we are working with orchestrator. You can see that I have multiple processes here, and in the beginning, I started my process from this place. And similarly, I can stop my process from this place. Now, if I'm stopping a process from this place, this is the variable or this is the activity which will catch the status of it in the form of Boolean. And I have to give it a name, Control K, and I'm giving it name should stop itself. So either it will be true or false. If it is false, then we want our process to be stopped, right? That is one way. That is one reason of stopping the process. Another reason could be anyone? Another reason could be that we don't have data, right? So that's what you have seen. For that, I'm using an activity called flow decision, and this requires a condition to be filled. In our case, should stop or the condition is I if either of this condition is true, when I say either of, there are two conditions, should stop. If it is true, stop. Or if we don't have any data, then stop, right? So this is the condition I'm providing in flow decision. Now, if I'm saying it is a decision, there could be two possibilities, yes or no, right? So we need to facilitate solutions for both of these conditions. So I'm going to use a message box. If the condition is true, say there is no more data to process. But if condition is false, that is, we have more data, then go back to get transaction item. So this is how we are iterating over our data that we have fetched from queue, right? Any question till now? Somebody wrote bad record. What is that?
A scenario when maybe there is no entry while the
Okay. It is somewhat similar to there is no transaction item to be processed further, right?
what if it was like when we read the records from the
Mm-hmm.
queue,
Mm-hmm.
from the file and created our queue, at that time there was a bad entry.
So that is something which you will not find inside queue. Either the transaction will be happening or not happening, right? While you are processing, like what we are doing in this particular case, there is a possibility that we might not be able to read a particular record in a particular situation. I'll show you. Give me a second. Okay, for that, I'll go back to queues and I'll show you some old records. So here you can see that most of them are successful, but this is in progress, right? Why it happened is because when I started, there occurred an exception for any reason. There could be any reason. I mean, system was not able to read. Now, next time, system will not look into in progress. It will only look into the records which are new, which has status new, right? So when you say bad record, that is the only possibility. You will never see a situation where something is written which is not correct.
Okay.
Is it making sense?
Yes.
For example, in this case, you can see that all records are new, right?
Yeah.
If it is having a 10 records, all records will be of interest. If it is having a 9 record and you tried to write 10 records, it could be because of the last upload is not happened at all, right? And you will not be able to see it here at all.
Okay.
Okay. So with that, now we are good with the studio part. Let me run this from studio once and then we will push this and other automation to cloud. It seems stuck somewhere because of UI issues. Will fix. Let it throw an error. Hmm. Type into a verification failed, expected XYZ. Let's see what is wrong with type into. So this is for SH56. This is done. Okay. Okay. So this is the problem. So what we have done wrong is we have placed this activity at wrong place. That is all we need to fix. Let me run it again. Now you see that this is in progress. For one of the regions, this transaction is not executed. Now the system will not come back to this status. It will start from this one. And there is one more thing that you might want to observe. I'll talk about it at last. I think another 2, 3 records are left. Let it run. Probably this is the last one. Okay. Now I'm pausing it in the interest of time, but we can see that it is working fine. But there was one page which was taking a lot of time, which is get text output. So before publishing it, I will, okay, let me refresh this. And you can see that I have stopped in the last record. That's why it is showing in progress. Other records are kind of successful, right? Okay, so as I said, since this page was taking a lot of time, let me try and improve this one. Now it will work fine. All right, so we are done with the studio work. The last thing that we want to do is see it on orchestrator. So let me publish this. No change in the name. It is published. Now I will publish the other part of the project, which is dispatcher, and publish it again. Okay, now we are good with the publishing. Let's see how to operate from here. Okay, it would be nice if somebody works with me here. So I have these many automations, right? To have a process visible here, I need to add the newly published process. I clicked on add, and the name of the process was points tracker display dispatcher. Display name, whatever you want to give. I'm not changing anything. Priority keep in medium and closing it. Now you can see this particular process is available for execution. So we had one more process that I want to pull points. Yeah, okay. Performer. Next, and everything that is needed can be seen here. I'll keep the priority high here just for demo purpose. And now I have both the processes available to run from orchestrator. Now, will I be able to run it directly or should I make any changes quickly? Let's see. So it is saying points tracker display, that is all okay, but it requires a robot to run. I can keep is as it is, or I can choose something. No results found. Where? For any connected machine. Why is that? Because
The assistant.
we need to make changes in UiPath Assistant first. And here I will use machine key. Since I have already used it multiple times, things are visible. Otherwise, you can pull this information from here. This is the machine. And if you want to know the machine key, this is the place. This is your machine key. Okay, let me go back to assistant and connect it. Now, since it is connected, I'm good to run it from the orchestrator. So let me, I'm at the level of orchestrator resources folder. Inside that automations, within the automations, I have already added all the processes that I need to run. First thing that I'll do is I'll run dispatcher to add more records. Now you can see that I have robot, I have machine, and I have a connected machine as well. Now let's run it. As soon as I hit a run, the tab shifts to jobs because it is under execution. You can see the state of it. It is running. Once it is done, it will show you successful, faulted, or running. That's what it is. Now it is a success. So let's go back to queues and see if there are any changes in our records. You can see that we have got another 10 records which are of new status, right? Now, once we will run the other automation, which is performer. This time I'm not making any changes, simply going to hit the start because there's only one machine which is connected. This is second record. Now, this is the last thing that you are going to see. If you have any questions, be ready to ask just after this execution. So while you're working on graphics, keep in mind, the better it will see, the better it will respond, right? So make sure that whatever activities you are using, if it is related to graphics, uh, it is able to see it properly. And for that, validation section is kind of very important. And you can always make it more robust through fine tuning. So there is no more data to process, which is kind of end of demonstration. Last thing that we'll check is how records are changed. So everything is successful, and you can see the output data as well. We could also have the points available, but I kept it simple. Alex and Beatrice, whatever it is. So with that, I'm done for today. If you have any questions regarding today's discussion, I'm happy to help. And going forward, let me tell you the roadmap as well. So what we are going to do next is I will be helping you in your journey of learning for another 1 month through Google Classroom, or you can write to me on this particular email ID that I'm sharing with you. And third way of reaching out to me is my LinkedIn ID that I'm going to share with you. So for any support regarding this learning, what you can do is you can write to me on Google Classroom, or you can reach out to me to my email. And this is my email ID. And the only suggestion I have is do not let this effort go in vain. Try your level best to complete the course. And I think even if you have completed your half of journey with little help that I was able to provide, uh, I think you will be able to complete it. And then there are a couple of next steps for which I am giving platform to Abhijit. Abhijit, you might want to take up. And by the time I'm here, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Anuj, for that detailed session. I mean, I enjoyed it. I learned a few new things today. So thank you so much for that. And what time are we supposed to close this? 12:30, is it? We are 4 minutes.
I I think that is not a problem because I initially I said
That's
the
not a
expectation, yes.
yes, yes, that's
Okay.
not a problem, Abhijit. You can carry on.
So I will share a couple of things. I don't want to prolong it much, but definitely, one second. Let me share my screen.
I can see a blank desktop right now.
Yeah, one second, one second. So now that we are doing the RPA course, I would want this is the recent information which I thought it is very important for you to talk about. More than 58% of the office workers want more digital tools like AI and automation to help them do their jobs better. Business automation solutions, as such, is actually helping workers to be more productive, have better work-life balance, and it is also seen as a solution to burnout and way to enhance job satisfaction. Today, we know what kind of stress we all carry, and it was a brilliant, different angle which we saw that people are considering automation to ease their day at office or ease their day at work. So there are a lot of changes which is happening. So why I'm saying this is to show the significance of it. Um, this is the decade of AI-powered automations, which is going to increase the global GDP by 7 trillion. So we are talking about automation changing the entire way the industry operates and how it is going to lead how each country will progress further, right? So this is without saying this, I felt that I should not be going further because UiPath, this is the focus which we have, which is called as agentic automation. So we strongly believe that future of automation is going to be agentic and robotic. So as we see, there is a blend of two essential aspects. So one is the agentic and one is the robotic. So much like the two sides of our human brain. On the left, we have the structured logical functions of automation similar to the which is similar to the left side of a brain, which is actually efficiency oriented processes information systematically, right? So this is where automation is used for those tasks which requires precision, consistency, and data processing. Think of it as the part that powers rule-based, repetitive task. This will drive efficiency across operations. On the right-hand side, we have the creative, intuitive side of automation. This represents the decision making, the adaptability, and handling ambiguity. Right? See, always we don't have a set rule of things. There is things which is sometimes ambiguous. So this is much like the right side of our brain. This part of automations allows systems to be flexible, respond to changing situations, and even learn from data patterns, which is very important. So here, automation is going to be enhanced by AI, enabling it to handle much more complex and dynamic tasks, right? So this is what do you mean by agentic? So AI workflows need to be split into two parts, actually, a strategy building component to design the workflows that are then carefully reviewed by humans or potentially by automated tools, which could be AI assisted, and a workflow executing component that acts based on a pre-planned strategy, ensuring compliance, repeatability, and governance. So the point of agent is that you give it goals, not tasks. So this is what the focus of UiPath is currently, and we are working greatly towards it. So we strongly feel that this is going to revolutionize the industry, revolutionize the way people look at automation, revolutionize the way uh, automation can get into not just repetitive tasks but tasks which needs precision, tasks which needs to learn from the data pattern. So that's the reason why I thought, okay, it makes very important for me to show this to you, so that because you are going through the basics of automation, which is the first step to step into the automation industry. Uh, but I would also want to show you what is the future holds for you. That's the reason why I thought, okay, I should show this to all of you. So this is going to be the future of automation growth and prospects, continuing from the growth prospects for this grand shift in the future of work. They are expecting even the World Economic Forum. They are expecting about 152 million jobs to shift globally, which is not a insignificant portion of the world's population, and that shift is really going to be due to the rise of robotics, new division of labor between human and machines. So the market overall is growing really fast with an almost 40 percentage compound annual growth rate projected between 2023 and 2030. Most of the people we see in the C-suite are the directors, or the people who actually make the decision. They are suggesting that they are going to really focus on this digitizing workforce processes. So another statistic from the automation developer survey is that 50% of the automation developers were creating automation for the highest led industry of finance and banking, but the next highest industry came in at 35%, which is surprising, which is the IT. I thought that's going to be the first one. But why I'm telling you this is because you can even think of IT first. There are several other industries that benefit from the use of automation. And for example, accountant is going to be the next one who is going to have the CPA exam updated with the basics of automation. So there is fairly reasonable average salary and very good starting salary. So how do you achieve it? What is the stepping stone to get into the corporate bags? How do a corporate look into your resume, and when they see there is a career break, how do they assess you? It becomes a little problematic for the corporates to assess candidates like this. So that's when your credential stands out, right? So the credential is going to be your advocate talking about what you have done when you came back after a stop. It will tell you that what is that extra effort that you have taken to, uh, do an extra little extra study and match up to the speed of what and how the industry is running. So I will strongly recommend all of you, whichever technology you are studying or refreshing right now, I will strongly recommend all of you to go to the once you finish the course to take up the certification. Yes, I understand certification comes at a cost, but in UiPath, we have really considered all of you and have come up with a solution. So we are considering this particular cohort in a very strategic way. I would also want to tell you whether I don't know anybody from Her Jobs have told all of you this. So you all know that Bangalore Tech Summit happened last week. Me and Anuj was there. We were surprised to see the kind of response we got from the industry and particularly from the government when they got to know that we are doing this cohort with a set of women who wants to get back into the corporate scenario. They were happy to help. They were jumping and saying that, okay, let us know what help you need. So you have grabbed the eyeballs. You're doing the right thing. Please continue to do. I was little sad seeing the number of people who are in the session today. I expected it to be a full house, but I'm okay with that few 4 or 5 people who normally joins from Chennai and they are stuck because of no power due to the cyclone and things like that. But I request all others who have been earlier here to complete the course and make sure that you take up this achievement. So, sorry, take up this certification. So, how do you get this certification? So, we has come out with a new strategy which is normally offered to the students. Which, when I say students, people who are from a university across the globe, we are passing that consideration to the folks in this particular cohort, and we are going to offer you that. What is that? So that is called a student recognition initiative. I am consider you as a student because you are again taken up the task of learning something new, updating something which you already knew. So I'm considering you as a student and passing on this. So what is this all about? So once you finish the learning objective of the particular course which you are currently doing, when we see that you have finished it, completed it, and got a diploma there itself, we will be we will be collecting all your email IDs, and we will send you a link to do an assessment. What is this assessment all about? Uh, I am going to check your knowledge level in the last couple of months of learning, and if you score anything above 50%, you will be getting a badge. 50 to 70 percentage of you all whoever is scoring 50 to 70 percentage will get a 50 to whatever marks you score. That is straight your discount to the certification plus a badge. Okay, I'm not interested in that. I am interested in the last piece of it, which is I am expecting all of you to score 70 percentage or above 70 percentage, wherein I can give you a 100% discounted voucher for all of who has scored 70 or 70 percentage and above. This is a golden opportunity to get certified. This is a golden opportunity to get certified with zero cost. I will request all of you to aim for it. We will do this. We once you finish the course, I am going to send this to all of you, and I would want you to seriously consider. If your intention is to get back to work, if your serious intention is to get noticed by a recruiter, this is the best way possible. I don't have to teach you. You all have worked. You all know what is the value of a certification. So I will humbly request all of you to go ahead and take this assessment so that I can give you a 100% discounted voucher, which is worth $150. Saying that, I think all of this is very clear to you. I would another request to all of you is to finish your that learning process within the time so that I can roll this out. It cannot be that okay, one person is finishing in next 1 month, another person is finishing in after 3 months, so that it becomes difficult for me to roll out any anything which we are doing in the academia or for that matter in the industry. So I would request all of you to finish within the time which we have defined and take up this assessment so that you get the benefit of getting the certification free of cost. So that is all I want to talk about. You are actually in the eyes of a lot of people, government, industry, uh, all of them. So I would want you to accelerate and make sure that you get certified. And with that, I'm sure all of you will be able to find a job and get back into the corporate segment. So saying that, all the best. Feel free to talk to us. Feel free to, Anuj has already shared his email ID and how you can contact them. Her job team is always there to help you guys. The only thing is that you guys are not disturbing them enough. So we all are there to support you, and I would also want to tell you that your success is going to be the to the is going to be the input for us to decide whether we should do more of this in the coming days. So I would want this to be a complete runaway success. So requesting all of you to adhere the timelines and learnings and taking up these assessments so that we get inspired and take up more women who need support and help them. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Abhijit. We have got a couple of questions. There are few which are directed to you. There are few for me. Uh, let me share my screen first, and then we'll answer a couple of things. Uh,
I will take the last question, Anuj. After the completion of the course, will you be providing separate assessment? Yes, it is a separate assessment. There will be a couple of things along with the course. I'm not talking about that. This will be a separately proctored assessment which you have to take to get qualified for this free voucher.
all right. So,
And
there is a question from Nisha. Sir, when is our certification exam? So I guess Abhijit has already answered that you have this liberty to fix that. But the only condition is that you need to score well in the assessment that Abhijit is going to share with you after completion of this course. One other thing that I want to discuss with you is you are already going through this platform. This is the course that you're pursuing, right? What I need from you, if you can do it, use it. This is the last thing that you're performing in this course, Automation Developer Associate Training Assessment, right? After completion of this, you'll get a certificate of completion. I want you to complete this course, get that training certificate. Once it is done, try to share it on Google Classroom with me so that I know that how many of you have completed it. And if possible, share it on your LinkedIn, mark me, Abjit, and everyone who just to get people motivated around that. That is number one.
One
Second thing,
second, Anuj. Good that you took this point because I came to know that there are few people who have not started their learning in the deep link which you have shared. You guys have gone to the academy and started directly there. So this is the only way we can uh, uh, find out that whether you have completed it or not. So once you have the diploma and share it in the social media or in anywhere which we can um, check, that's the best possible way to see whether you have completed the course or not.
great, thanks. Okay, next thing is from Divya. Is UiPath part of agentic AI or is it robotic and AI both? So UiPath offers features, products to develop automations, which has all of these together. Recent update is agentic AI. Now we are following an approach of agentic AI. Earlier when it started, it was more focused on RPA, robotic process automation. Then it included kind of AI features, integrated a lot of AI features to make it easy. You can already see while I was working, there are a lot of things which are already available to facilitate. Uh, Autopilot is kind of integrated to help you identifying errors, fix errors, things like that. Right now, we are heading towards agentic AI, and it is a buzz right now in this industry. Next is again from Divya. Can we use Java code in UiPath Studio? Can you please share the use case because my previous experience is in Java, so curious to know. You can certainly use Java, but not directly the way it is used to. We have something called, let me open this. We have something called integration service, right? Uh, this is the place where you can integrate your APIs. And when it comes to Studio, this is the place where you can invoke your code, right? So these are few activities that you have available in here to work on this, right? Python is also compatible. Maybe what I can do is I will share the links on Google Classroom how to integrate your Python or Java or other code inside this, right? Uh, by when we should take the assessment purely depends on your readiness. Uh, but I think the best thing is that you complete your complete learning plan on Academy Deep Link that I've shared within a month, because after a month it would be difficult for me to continue support even on Google Classroom, right? So I would highly recommend to complete your course on Academy, and then Abhijit is going to definitely share assessment link. Based on that, you can decide when you want to take certification. understand this, there are three components. One is academy learning plan, on which you are going through videos, reading, and assessment. That is number one. Second is a different assessment link provided by Abhijit to assess the criteria of providing discount, right? And third one is actual certification. This journey itself is a very good journey because it will make you ready for the certification. A DAC certification may not help you, it may go in vain. And the question that you will encounter, I worked on those, so I know that if you go through those questions, it will definitely help you preparing for the certification itself in a way, right? What else? How it integrate with machine learning is possible in one? Yes, it is possible. Let me show you quickly. Now, within Orchestrator, we have got we have got document understanding. Now, if you create, if you want to use this document understanding inside project, you will find this interface is a bit changed, but let me see what I can get. I'll get back to you on this because there should be an AI center which is not visible right now on this orchestrator. That AI center is nothing but it allows you to use already created ML package, or you can use a custom ML package creating separately. That's where I said that you can use almost everything here. You can create a ML package in Python and you can call it here in this platform for uh, utilization. So it is possible. Right now, I'm not able to see that particular option for some reasons. Maybe they have changed the interface. So it is possible for sure. What is next? I think Sudeepni, question of Sudeepni is already answered. Is it done? Can we get help to make resume for this profile? Any sample resume after come? Abhijit, I think you should take this one.
What was the question? I didn't get that.
Yeah, can you see the chat, meeting
Yeah,
chat?
actually, she was asking, can we get help to make resume for this profile, any sample resume after completion of course?
Well, I can share some sample resumes, but we will not be able to help you with that. But typical developer or architect resumes can be shared. That shouldn't be an issue.
Last date of completion, as I said, I would be able to help for another 1 month. Uh, Consider it towards end of December. You know, December is kind of vacation scenario, right? So by the end of December, you can consider. Uh, but there is no hard and fast end date from my side. But I would be able to support you for another one month. So I would recommend to complete it as soon as possible.
Yeah, that is again my humble request. I would want all of you to finish within the defined time for this particular cohort. After that, I'll be very frank enough to say this. We will not, we will be, we are doing so many other programs. Our bandwidth is going to be an issue to support. So I will humbly request all of you to follow the timelines and finish within that time so that we can be with you, guide you through, give you the assessment, and whoever qualifies to pass on the next steps, that is the 100% certified, 100% discounted certification voucher, and so that you get benefited. Say, for example, you come after 2 months, probably we may not be running that particular uh, I mean, assessment at that point of time. And or we may decide it to be only to be restricted to students because that's specifically designed for students. It is not supposed to be anything used outside uh, the university. I have taken special permissions from the global heads to use this for this particular cohort, and I don't want it to go waste. So request again all of you to finish it within time and take the assessment and then get certified finally.
Okay, Abhijit, it's a fine, like quite explanation we have given for their queries. It's now the ball is in their court to complete the course.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, no,
Yeah.
because I will not get an opportunity to talk to them again. So I was just reiterating what we are trying to do, so that they understand what it is. So now the
Yeah.
ball is in their court. It is up to them, and they are the one who will decide whether we will do the next cohort or not, because they are the one who are going to inspire us, saying finally, oh, okay, 60 people got certified. So yeah, that's something which is so I am expecting it to happen, but let's see how it goes.
Yes, yes. It gives us the more motivation to motivate them also for this further steps.
Correct, correct.
Um, okay, Abhijit, Anuj, we'll wrap up for today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
we'll keep on, we'll sure as Herky team will keep on give them the their messages to complete their course every week as usual. Let them will and Anuj will sort it
Yeah.
out queries of yours
So
on Google Classroom.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
Anuj.
Another thing that I just want to add here is Google Classroom, as you know, is something which is linked with my personal email ID, right? So I don't see notifications very often there. But do write anywhere you want, be it on my official ID that I shared or Google Classroom. I will definitely respond back, right? And the thing that I already said that my success is how many of you will complete the learning plan and mark it on LinkedIn or Google Classroom, right? That's what I want to see. Thank you. Sorry.
Abhijit, anything to say?
Somebody asked me for my profile. I'll just share it. Give me a
Okay.
minute. Here you go. Thanks, Divya. Thank you. I think we can close it. Thank you. Thanks, Harjeet.